So I thought I'd shoot this video to demonstrate the new version 8 of the software on the Tesla, which just came out. I got my update yesterday. On the whole, I'm happy with the update, but there are some significant disadvantages to the update, and I'd like to take you through some of those features in this quick introduction. The good news is the mapping software works absolutely brilliantly. For those of you who were Tesla owners before, there had been some bugs that had crept into the map software. I feel certain that Tesla didn't choose to resolve them because they were holding back and wanted to release all of the improvements in version 8. But it was a very frustrating set of anomalies that would occasionally occur here, and it was also a slightly more cluttered screen. This is a lot cleaner, which is nice. As you can see, this tells you the components of the trip, where we're going, the battery charge I'll have when I get to my destination, the distance 35 minutes, 28 miles, and what time I'll get back to the house. The streaming media player, which is absolutely outstanding, new features and big improvements to the way that all works. As you can see here, I've got the BBC World Service, I've got some radio stations, and you can choose from anything that Slack has got to offer, tune-in radio, and obviously you can stream from your iPhone if you want to listen to Spotify, Pandora, or any of the other music outlets. And of course, if you do choose to go to terrestrial radio, you can do that too. Overall, some nice improvements, really big set of improvements. The controls here for the car haven't changed much. The profiles, and you've got your settings, the specifics of the vehicle that you can change here. But those are all the good side. That's the good side to what they've released in version 8. The bad side, now here is the downside. Unfortunately, the lawyers got involved, as they so often do. And after a fairly notable incident that occurred earlier this year, in which a driver allegedly watching a Harry Potter movie decapitated himself rather unfortunately in his Tesla Model S, they've had to regress significantly the features available in the autopilot, and they've now basically taken away a lot of the freedom we had with autopilot. I mean, in the earlier version of autopilot, you could literally drive along without touching the wheel. You could get on with text messages or emails or even watching a Harry Potter movie, and the car would literally drive itself. And unfortunately, people push that to the limit, and we've now had to have our toys taken away from us. Hopefully it's a temporary respite and temporary reprieve, but we really do miss some of the freedom that the old autopilot offered us. Most notably, I've now got to keep a finger on the wheel. I've got to keep some pressure on the wheel. I can't take my hand off the wheel altogether. If I do, and what that car will do is sense that after a few moments and start to flash a quite a noticeable white border to the display there in front of me. And that's all very well and good if you happen to be looking at your display, but if you were perhaps being distracted by looking at your surroundings, maybe even glancing at your phone and doing a text message, God forbid that you would do such a thing, but I have heard that certain Tesla drivers do text messages and even the occasional email whilst driving on autopilot. But obviously I would never do such a thing, and as you can see, I'm extremely obedient and obeying the speed limit perfectly, and by the way, extremely comfortably. One of the things about autopilot is that it does make you a lot more relaxed in the car, because the ordeal of sitting here on the highway, tediously driving along at 65 miles an hour, which is literally so slow you feel like you can get out and walk it, is massively relieved by the features of this car, this autonomous, or not autonomous, but this ability to take control for me during these tedious phases of the driving experience is just marvelous. It's absolutely fantastic, and without question, in my eyes, the most valuable feature that Tesla have brought to the planet. The electric car is just magnificent. I would never want to drive a petrol-powered or diesel-powered car again. Electric, it just makes so much sense. It's incredibly affordable, obviously, for those of you who live in parts of the world where fuel prices are prohibitively expensive to drive big gas guzzlers like that one there, burning probably at best 12 miles to the gallon. There's the flashing light, and if I totally ignore that, I actually just touched the wheel inadvertently whilst I brought the camera down, but were I to have totally ignored that flash, it wouldn't have given me very long before it would loudly beep at me to take control of the car, and then it would disable autopilot, frustratingly, because it wouldn't then allow me to re-engage the autopilot until I next start the vehicle, which means pulling over, generally on the hard shoulder or on the emergency lane, putting the car in park, and then re-engaging drive, and then setting off upon our journey again. It's immensely annoying and tedious feature, which undoubtedly appeases all the lawyers in the world, and will ensure that maybe Tesla averts another couple of lawsuits. But really, it's the kind of backward thinking that has really caused so much of the evolution of cars and aeroplanes in the planet over the years. And it's very, very frustrating. But as I say, you know, everything that Tesla have introduced, wonderful. Version 8, absolutely superb, with this minor inconvenience, which, were you a new Tesla owner, you would never notice the difference. But for those of us who've had Teslas before version 8, we're going to lament the software upgrade, and it's only a small additional sweetener that they've managed to give us, that you know, with a slightly nicer user interface over here, that takes away from the bitterness of the pill that we've had to swallow over here in terms of our autopilot. Anyway, I'm going to sign off and wish you all well. If you haven't been for a test drive in a Tesla yet, then strongly recommend popping down to your local dealer and indulging yourself. Best advice I can give you is, unless you really want to buy the P model, don't under any circumstances drive it, especially if you're a man and you've got any testosterone left. It is a real problem, and it cost me a lot of extra money, that foolish test drive. I was very happy with the standard model, which, by the way, gives you another 30 miles of fuel range. The P was completely unnecessary. It's an insanely fun, but I wish I'd never got in the car in the first place, because I'd be $20,000 or $30,000 wealthier right now, and I'd have at least 30 miles more range out of my batteries. But as I say, I'm very happy with my Tesla. I wouldn't swap it for any car on the road right now, any car at all, and highly recommend it if you haven't considered it.